What's up, y'all? It's your host, Sid, and welcome back to another episode of Cooler Talk. I'm so excited that you're joining me here with so many dope women this season as we transparently inspire and empower through conversations about womanhood, career, relationships, and all of life's experiences. Joining me at the Cooler today is Jennifer. She is the CEO and founder of Just Elope, LLC, which is a micro-wedding specialist company based here in Dallas, Texas. Jennifer has been featured on Netflix's Love is Blind, which she's actually the second Cooler Talk guest this season to be on Netflix's Love is Blind, Essence, and the TodayShow.com. She is also the host of her own podcast, the Wedding to Wife podcast. But most importantly, she is a wife and a boy mom of 3. That just makes me tired just saying it. Oh, Jennifer, Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people about you.
Yeah, so that was such a great intro. I have the honor and privilege of planning people's most special day. And it is such a privilege to be able to be with people on such a memorable moment in their life, knowing that I get to play even just a small role in their story. It truly does my heart well to be a part of that. I am a mom to 3 boys, 9, 11, and 3. So if y'all hear a random 3-year-old during this interview, that is Lennox, and he controls this house. And listen, we don't want any issues with him. I have been married to my amazing husband for 14 years next month. And it is, thank you. It has been getting married young means that you grow up together. And so when you grow up in front of somebody else, all of your flaws and all the things that essentially when you meet somebody as an adult that you've already figured out. So you kind of work through like the awkward quirks about yourself because you've grown up. They are on display. As you know, y'all have been together. And so it is definitely, it makes marriage fun and exciting to see the growth that the other person has, but it also can make it difficult at times because we're human and we hold on to things. And, you know, the real growth is knowing like, okay, don't bring that up again. Don't talk about that no more. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. So I think, initially, ever since the day I met you, like, instant connection, because just as long as you and your husband have been together, like me and my husband just celebrated 3 years married last month. But we've known each other since we were in the 6th grade. And
right.
Like, made it through high school, middle school, college, all the things. And like just that, idea of those, those few people in the world that understand, like you kind of had a mirror in front of you for so long. Marriages, it's just an interesting dynamic when you've known a person for that long. But I think, in the grand scheme of weddings, when people hear about weddings, they think about the wedding planner, the person who's doing the cake, the venue, and all of that. But here you are, you have founded a company that specializes in micro weddings.
Yeah.
So how did you get on this path, or like what made you start Just Elope?
So back in 2010, Tavares was leaving for deployment, which is my husband. He was leaving for deployment and he proposed on a Thursday and he was leaving the following Tuesday. And so probably like around Sunday, he was like, we should get married before I leave. And I'm like, what? Get married? What you talking about? And so he was like, if something was to happen to me while I'm gone, you hold no rights to anything. Like you're in the laws of the eye, like you're nobody. And so, on one end, I'm like, oh my God, that's so romantic. But on the other end, I'm like, what you mean something gonna happen to you? Like what? What are you talking about?
You're supposed to be coming back.
Right. What do you mean? So we made the decision, okay, we're going to get married before he left. And I'm like, okay, I do not want to go to City Hall. Like that's the last thing I want to do is go to some, musty courthouse and have a wedding. And I started looking for a service where we could have a nice ceremony that was our definition of affordable, because I definitely believe that that is such a relative term. And so it applies to people's lives differently. So whenever somebody mentions like they want something affordable, what's affordable to Beyonce and what's affordable to me is two different things.
Exactly.
So just speak in numbers, right? When you're talking to people, just a little takeaway for people. When you're talking about what you can afford, just say what you need. Don't say I'm looking for an affordable makeup artist. Say, hey, I got $60. Like what can I do with that?
How long can it stretch?
Right. Like what, how many, do I have to bring my own brushes? Like, do I have to bring my, like what I need to do? So we were looking for somebody that, you know, could get us married and provide this service without us having to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Because of course you can go to Vegas, a one-stop shop. Well, we could not afford to go to Vegas. We could barely afford to try to do what we're trying to do at home. So we ended up at City Hall. And it was not romantic.
Yeah.
As happy as I was that I was getting married, it was on a Tuesday. My mom came and my niece, she was 6 at the time. And she just graduated high school, which is crazy to me. And so they were the only two there. I have one picture from the day I got married. And while Tavares was gone, he left the exact same day. Like I want to point that out. So we got married.
And he went to the airport.
And 4 hours later, he left for deployment. And so while he was gone, I was supposed to start planning, you know, this epic adventure, this epic wedding. We're going to be this and that. And I quickly realized that my definition of epic was expensive. And because we were already married, I really could not justify the expense, because now the rose-colored bride glasses were off. And there are 2 times in people's lives when you can get them to spend unnecessary money. And that is when they have a baby and when they have a wedding. You can convince people, girl, you need this. You need this little unnecessary thing.
Amazon knock on my door all day long.
You need a wipe warmer. I bought a wipe warmer to have my first baby. Them wipes were so dry and crusty. Now they upgraded and you could put water in the bottom to keep them moist. They didn't have that.
I didn't fall for it with Braylon. I'm
like, oh, we need a wipe warmer. I want my baby's butt to be warm. Well, you know, no. So it's 2 times. And so I'm like, okay, this is getting out of control. So I kept trying to plan. When he came home, I was no closer to planning something. I put a deposit down on a venue and on a wedding planner. And I'm like, okay, we about to go forward. And the cost just kept adding and adding and adding and adding. So I'm like, okay, this is getting out of hand. So he comes home and I'm like, okay. He comes home in 2011. We got married in 2010. He comes home in 2011. By April of 2012, I was no closer to planning anything, and now I'm pregnant. And so I'm like, okay. So the deposit that we paid the baby for the wedding planner, she turned into our baby shower planner and gave us a baby shower. And so it was great. Then I'm like, okay, so now we got one baby, and I'm like, all right, well, I still want my moment. Like we're gonna keep on trying to plan something. And so when he was 10 months, boom, I'm pregnant again. And so now I got 2 under 2, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So this was 2014 that I have baby number 2. So I'm like, okay, well, we can do something for year 5. So now we're at 2015. I'm like, we can do something for year 5. I'm still trying to plan. We're paying for daycare for 2 kids. Girl, we broke. And I'm trying to plan a wedding. Girl, come on. And so I'm like, okay, like I'm still trying. Like it's never a month that's gone by that I haven't thought about, you know, what can I do? So as we get to 2017, I'm like, we can go to Vegas and have like a big shebang, lucky number 7, like this big blowout, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, girl, give it up.
Yeah.
Give it up.
Yeah.
Let it go. I said, you know what? I want to create a business where other couples don't have to choose between City Hall and Vegas. There has to be some type of common ground that we can come to. And literally that's how Just Elope was started. Because when I got married in 2010, there was not a service that allowed me to have a wedding day locally that was pre-planned, that I didn't have to worry about vetting the photographer and the officiant and the this person and ordering flowers. I was able to utilize, I created a service to where you're not hiring an individual, you're hiring a company.
The whole company.
And so when you go, it's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, you don't have to go shopping for the food, find a cook, make sure the kitchen's good, hire the server. You get to just go in and sit down and be catered to. And that is what we provide. And so 2017, so at this time I was doing professional photography and working full time. And so, I would get referrals from people like, oh, you know, we're taking engagement pictures, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a phone call from a lady that said, can you shoot my wedding at City Hall? We were going to get married. And once they found out we were a same-sex couple, they would not allow us to get married there. And so I'm like, okay. So I was like, she's like, and my friend referred me to you because you had taken pictures for her, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I would love to. So I was like, well, I actually just launched this business called Just Elope. And where we basically will marry you. We've like found some beautiful outdoor locations. Y'all can show up. You can get married. We'll have an officiant for you, take some great pictures. And, you know, that way you don't have to go to City Hall. And then like the phone went like dead silent. And I'm like,
I shot my shot. Is
I'm like,
going in? Is it going?
Hello? And she came back to the phone and she was crying. And she was just like, I did not want to get married at City Hall. Something just told me to call you. I knew it was going to be okay once we talked. And that is how I got my very first client. And my first year, we married 8 couples.
Wow.
And I was shocked. 8 people let me marry them outside. And I'm like, okay, this is something. The next year, we did 32 weddings. And to date, we've done over 450.
Wow.
And now we partner with venues around the DFW area. And that allows us to give people these magical moments inside of places that if they were to book on their own, then they would have to pay thousands of dollars just to get through the door. But because we are a returning client of the venue, we get preferential pricing. We're filling in scheduling gaps. So if their typical wedding times are, you know, they rent their venues from 12 in the afternoon to 12 midnight. And I'm saying, well, shoot, let me come in on Saturday at 9 and we're going to be out by 11. I'll make sure it's pristine. They're like, well, yeah, because we are a ceremony company. So we specialize in ceremonies. So you are getting an opportunity to get walked down the aisle, have a bridal party, say your own vows, get married in front of your favorite people, take beautiful pictures with your guests and afterwards. And then you get to choose how you want to celebrate your reception, whether that's the two of you jet setting off to your honeymoon or having a reception at a restaurant or Airbnb, or hiring us to plan your reception. That's your choice. And it works.
It's so beautiful. Like the marketer in me melts at the story of Just Elope, just because it's like not only rooted in just like firsthand experience. Like, look, this is what happened with me when I was getting married, you know, to the man of my dreams. And not only did I not want other people to have the same experience, like as you started to build a company, like you shot your shot, you saw even other marginalized communities that, you know, weren't accepted in certain venues. And like to see how, you know, the story just, it hits so close to home, I think, for so many people, you know, whether they're military couples, you know, just different circumstances. Everybody, I think, in the grand scheme of society, there's, just like you mentioned, is those two parts where we'll spend a lot of money, but it's also, you know, whether it's marriage or having a baby, sometimes the circumstances are not always, you know, the rainbows and the butterflies and the budget and the, I got money for, you know, $3,000 worth of floral for 2 hours. Like, you know, it's not always that. And so I think how you just literally took your firsthand experience, tap into all the pain points of all the peoples, you know, that are needing weddings on a budget and, you know, within a short time frame. It's just a beautiful story. I love when I get to ask people about their brand. And I heard the story before I heard the services. Yeah. I heard the passion behind it before I heard, like, you know, and so like these are all the numbers. And I think that's just so beautiful how closely related it is to your own story. So being that like micro weddings is not, it's not even common language, right? It's not something that people even first think about when they think about getting married. Like, when you introduce Just Elope to rooms, to people, you know, networking, I know you pitch a lot, you know, for funding to grow your business. Like, what are usually some of the hurdles or the side eyes or the, like, what she said, like, that you get from people when you're talking about as a micro wedding specialist?
So post pandemic, it is a lot more common now because a lot of businesses have had to pivot their business. When the pandemic hit, our business exploded. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm like, am I rich or am I not rich? Like, I don't know. Because I had a month where I was like, I have never made this much money, in a year.
None of us made it in a month. Days. Correct.
I was literally, the amount of money I made in May and June 2020 allowed me to pay off our debt, and we bought our first home. Like literally, like in May, I was like, we should buy a house. My husband was like, because we were renting. We had just moved in February into this place. And I'm like, he's like, we just moved here. And I'm like, yeah, but we should buy a house. And he's like, well, what we have to do to, you know, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna get with somebody, I'm gonna see what they say, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, well, if y'all pay off this, then in 30 days, we'll reassess your scores. Everything should be good. And like, we can go forward. And I'm like, bet. So he was like, well, how long do you think it's gonna take us to do that? I'm like, tonight.
Right now.
He's like, what?
Get them logins and get this debt paid off.
Swipe it. And I kid you not, I decided that summer I want to, because we, you know, I feel like the saying where they say those that can't do teach. I feel like those who can't have a wedding plan them, because let me tell you how we had a vow renewal planned to go to Mexico to celebrate our 10-year vow renewal. What is 10 years after 2010? 2020. What happened in the summer of 2020? A COVID shutdown. So now my dream vow renewal on the beach of Mexico, my friends have signed up. I'm having a private party, all these things. Canceled. So it allowed me to be in this space to where the brides that I was talking to, I was able to let them know, like, I get it. Yeah. I get how you feel that you're having to completely rearrange what it is that you want to do. And my advice to them was, if your dream is to walk down the aisle and have people, you know, 200-300 people, to have them oohing and eyeing and this sort of thing, wait. Wait it out, see what's gonna happen. If that's not your big concern and your priority is, you know what, we want to get married because we ready to go ahead and buy this house, start this family, then I will take the best care of you. Because whenever somebody says to me, I want you to convince me, pitch me your business so I can book and to become a client, I tell them no. Because when you walk into Starbucks, they're not about to convince you that they have the best coffee. Exactly. Baby, either do you want this venti or not? Because if you don't, then go ahead and go get you something else. But if you want to be here, then let me take the best care of you that I possibly can. Because my biggest thing with couples is when they come to me and say, oh, well, we just want to do something small right now, and we're going to do something big later.
Yeah.
And I explained to them, I've been married for almost 14 years, and that's something big for me has yet to happen.
Right. That's something small that turned into something big.
That's something small, then stayed small, and that's just the end of it. And I'm like, for lack of a better term, because I love to give real life analogies to people. If you need to do whatever you're going to do right the first time. And by that, I mean, if you lost your virginity in the back of a car, just because you had sex the next time in a hotel room with rose petals and candles, it doesn't change
it.
That you was busting in the back of the Chevy. It does not change anything.
Outside the movie theater.
Listen, look. Therefore, make your first time the best time in case life takes you in a direction that you don't get to have another opportunity. Yeah. And we are very, very photography focused at Just Elope because I have one picture.
That's crazy.
One picture.
It's crazy.
One picture. And so for me, having a team of, and people don't understand, like when you book a wedding with us, you're booking photographers who literally charge thousands of dollars to shoot weddings. And they work for my company on a contract basis and they freaking love it because all they have to do is show up for an hour, shoot, go home. They didn't have to talk to you before they got here. They didn't have to sell you. They didn't have to do anything. They just got to show up, do their thing, do what they do best and not the business part behind it. They know that they got, when I call them, they know they money is in hand because I'm only calling because I got the money because they paid. So you are getting such top quality people and people like, they're like, oh my God, the photos on your website are so great. You know, do we get to choose our own photographer? I said, I will let you pick your own photographer if you can go onto our website and go to our gallery and pick 3 weddings that you think were all shot by the same person.
Same one. Yeah.
And if you can pick 3 weddings shot by the same person, I will let you pick whoever you want to pick. And they're like, what? They're like, well, they all pretty much look the same. Exactly. Because we have an aesthetic. We have a style of shooting. No matter what your personal style is, you work for a company. And I explain to people, you're hiring a company, not an individual. If photographer A, if Corey cannot shoot your wedding for whatever reason, and he calls me the day of, Jen, I'm sick, I'm throwing up, I cannot make it. Okay, cool. Hey, Stephanie, we got a wedding today. Like, can you go shoot Corey sick? Okay, sure. It does not matter who's showing up because whoever shows up is A1.
Yep.
And that's what we embed in people. And that allows us to provide you with a stress-free wedding day. Let me stress. Yeah. Let me figure out, oh Lord, where are these people at? Let me get my camera. Let me put my shoes on. That's okay. You as the bride don't know nothing different.
Exactly.
You walking in and smiling.
I think like newlywed couples like that do start to venture down like that wedding planning. We don't realize it's just like, you know, Black people in finances. You know, we ain't grew up sitting at the dinner table talking about the ins and outs of Roth IRAs and stocks, where all to put our money. And it's the same thing with wedding planning and marriage in a lot of cases. Like we don't understand. Once we get into it, them rings on them fingers, the full spectrum of wedding plan. Like, so just like you said, like we got engaged February 2020. We got married May 2021. Okay. 2020 through 2022, I call that the pandemic. Like, period. Like that was pandemic planning, pandemic women and wedding. And I would like put our wedding on like the one end of the spectrum of so much work because one, we were both living at the time when we got engaged. I was still living in California and I was out there for a job, moved back to Texas. We got engaged here. We wanted a destination wedding, but we're originally from Georgia. So we didn't want no 300, 400 people wedding because we've known each other for so long. Right. Going up back home. We trying to plan something abroad during the panini. And our guest list went from like probably like 150 or like 2 something to 150 down to when we wound up getting married in May 2021, we had 49 people at our wedding.
And where did y'all get married at?
In Antigua.
Oh, okay. So y'all did do the destination.
Yeah, we still did it. But when I tell you the amount of time, we was both, Antonio's a firefighter.
Right.
I'm working a full-time job.
Right.
I'm moving back from Cali to Texas during the pandemic. I'm getting, it was when you was flying and they give you them little notices like you need to be quarantined for 14 days to get off this plane. Like you breaking all type of quarantine laws and shit. And it's just like the amount of time it took for me to coordinate with all the different people. The guest list changing 82,000 times.
Right.
Like, I think, you know, again, like some girls dream of that wedding day. I wasn't one of those girls.
Right.
And that's like always a funny story that me and Antonio tell is like, as long as we've known each other, we always knew we wanted to get married and we always knew that we were each other's person, but we never ever was just like, when we do get married, where we want to get married at? We never talked about our wedding before then. Like until we got engaged, we was like, oh shit, maybe we should like talk about this.
Actually have a conversation.
Like, and so I was never one of those like, I can't wait for my wedding day type girls. And so I had no idea.
Yeah.
Going into this, right? And I think the only thing that saved me is that I'm a planner. I'm a strategic planner, organizer, but like to hear you just talk about, look, like to understand when you do business with us, I already got the package. I got the photographer, I got the venue, I got the floor, I got the officiant. And not only do I have that, like, you're a creative savior. You know how many photographers and, you know, designers and people that we work with just as business owners. That's not their birthright. They don't want to do invoices. They don't want to set up books and dubsados. They don't want to do none of that. Like they just want to shoot the photographs, design the thing, show up and build the arrangements. Like, and so that is like a creative savior. So when you talk about just Elope, you know, you're the CEO, the visionary, you're also an officiant. Like, what does that team stack look like? Or like, when did you know you had to expand beyond Jennifer? When did you know it's like, look, this can't just be me?
Yeah. So the first 100 weddings that we did, I photographed every single wedding. The first 100. I was at every wedding, no questions asked. So when I started out, I brought on my mom as an officiant, my husband, my sister, and there's Lennox. I brought on my mom, my sister, everybody.
Hey, mommy.
And
mommy.
Yes, Lennox.
I did the birthday.
Yes. Your dad just went into the garage and you saw that as your opportunity, but I just sent him a text to come get you.
Lennox said this is my podcast.
Okay. Can mommy finish talking? Shout out to all the mamas out there because it is.
Hey, Lennox.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Here comes Daddy.
He's like, oh no.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
You good. You're good. That's Braylon's new word right now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Everything.
Bye-bye.
He is, man. So when I first started, I hired my family. I'm like, hey, look, we about to do this. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to need y'all to be the officiant. I'm going to break the ceremonies out. Like, come on. Pay y'all. Everybody getting paid. Like, hey, good little extra money, you know, to be made. So that was that. And that's how it went for the first 100 weddings. And it was exhausting, but I loved it. Right. So it wasn't like, oh my God, I hate I'm doing this. It was like, man, I want to do this all the time.
Because it was yours.
Yes,
you know?
It was mine. And we were going out of town for my nephew's graduation. And I had a couple reach out to me that said they wanted to do a wedding and I wasn't going to be there. And so at that moment, I either do I turn them down or do I branch out? And that was my crossroads. And so I, of course, being a photographer, had my own connections and to people. And so I made the decision like, okay, I'm gonna put a team together for this wedding. And I have my sister owns a photo booth company. So I'm like, okay, you're gonna go set up your photo booth, but you're also gonna like be my eyes so I can make sure like, you know how I want stuff done.
How I run business.
Right.
Exactly.
And so she went. They did the wedding. We were all the way in California at this point. I was sick, girl. We was at Universal Studios. I was sick. Do you hear me? I could not focus from the time I knew the wedding was starting till it ended. I could not breathe. And so once it was over, my sister texted me and she's like, everything's perfect. The couple texted me and was like, oh, is it the best day ever? And I'm like, oh,
I got a team.
That's what it is. And from there, it went from me being afraid to expand out and do that wedding to, girl, if you see me at a wedding, it's you lucky because I'm at the house because I've learned that I'm best served as the floater. Like because I can do the photography, the officiant the day of, I'm best served as it not assigning myself to a wedding so that if something happens, I can be that person. But I have the best team, like, and we are a close knit group and I can count on them and depend on them and I pay them well, above market average. And so for me, paying them well is a privilege. It's an honor that I have to do because I want you to feel like, oh yeah, this is worth it. Like this worth me getting up. This worth me going, you know. When you are a day of planner's assistant for a large wedding, they typically pay like $25 an hour. So our day ofs are at the venue for 2 hours max. So they're basically like 30 minutes for the ceremony start to make sure the couple gets to their rooms to get changed, greet the guests as they're sitting. They're there for the hour that the ceremony and picture time is taking place. And then we have like a 30-minute buffer at the end, get everything put back together. So if they were assisting a planner, they would have made $50 for those 2 hours. Well, I paid $250 for those 2 hours. And some of the times it literally is just like the couple and 3 people. So really you're not doing much. Like, I mean, not to downplay their role because one of the things that sells us to the venue is that we're going to have a member of our staff there where your staff doesn't have to do anything but unlock the door. And so it all works out and I absolutely love it. And I could not ask for a better group of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I empathize with that. That's exactly how I feel about my team. I didn't know like your first hires was family because same for me.
Yeah.
Like my first hire was my sister. And to this day, like, shoot, we almost hit in 3 years.
Yeah.
We're on the team and we're now a team of 9. And I feel the same way. Like I'm still in that seat because of the nature of our work. I'm still in that seat where I am assigned to certain things, but I think, you know, that's the goal. That's the vision. I think a lot of times as business owners or even, you know, entrepreneurs starting out, like you think, oh, this your baby, this your business. You got to be in, like you mentioned, you at Universal Studios, you can't breathe, not because of roller coaster, but because you states away from your baby. But when you start to separate yourself from the things, even the things that you are the best at, but somebody else that you are paying that is on the team is more than capable of handling it, you start to feel a whole different level of peace.
Oh gosh.
You still stressed, you still got anxiety, but that level of peace of like, not only did I build like this company that people come to use, but I built a team that can still carry the torch when I'm not around.
Oh, and it is great, girl. And it's so funny because so Saturday we had a wedding and I assigned myself to go to the wedding. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. The couple was like, because I'll get couples that like, are you gonna be the officiant?
Yeah, or like they know
and
you.
So I'm like, I really had planned on it, but I guess I could come. And so I assigned myself to be the officiant. So when I got there, my day of coordinator Monique was there, and so the people had started coming in. I was like, hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I'm gonna need you to let me do my job. Like, girl, they can't stand to see me coming. They cannot stand to see me coming because they like, why are you in our business? Like,
Correct.
Go over there. Like, what's your role? Like, what is your role today? We have a photographer, we have an official, we have a day of coordinator. What are you doing?
Why are you here?
Like, Jennifer. And I'm like, well, I was just trying to. They're like, why'd you pay us if you gonna come and then try to work? And I'm like, you know what? Y'all are absolutely right. And I love going, especially to weddings where I can kind of serve as like the content creator, getting that behind the scenes, because that really pushes and thrives our business. So I love that I can show up in that capacity and only focus on that. But yeah, they are pretty awesome, which is my fear of expanding.
Oh, girl.
So people often ask like, okay, y'all are based in Dallas. When are y'all going to come here? When are y'all going to come there? And I'm like, you know what? Quality control is so real. Like, people think, oh, you'd make so much more money if you were to just come here. And it's like, but at what cost?
Exactly.
You get on Google right now and you look at our reviews. We 5 stars across the board. Now I'm running the risk of hiring out. This person don't show up. That person don't show. It's nothing I can do if somebody don't show up in New York to marry you. What can I do? I can't get in my car and say, oh my God, we're going to delay it by 30 minutes. I'm on my way. We're going to make it happen. I can't do that.
Yep. And neither do you know the same network in all these different states.
Correct. Yeah. So it's like, growth is great, but I look at it like HEB. Like, I want to be HEB. HEB is only in Texas, and they have like a few stores in Mexico. Yeah. And HEB is a multi-million, if not billion-dollar company.
And they good. They're like, we for Texas, that's about it. Like, Whataburger done stepped out, In-N-Out done stepped out. But HEB is like, we good.
We good. And in the future, they can decide we not good and we want to do something else. And that may be the next torch to this. You know, that may not be my reign of Just Elope. That may be the next reign of Just Elope. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. And so when people say like, oh, you should come, blah, blah, blah. No, but what I can do is, if you're willing to pay it, me and my people love to travel. Yeah. We on the way. But are you trying to pay the on the way price? Because if not, then you could be on your way here. A destination.
You have your little destination Dallas wedding.
A destination wedding is any place outside of your hometown.
Your hometown, exactly.
So whether that is you live in Dallas and you live in Houston, you come to Dallas. Yep. That is a destination wedding. So that is, when people talk about expanding, it used to kind of give me like this anxious feeling, like maybe I should make it at my focus. And it's like, no. Why?
Yeah. And I think too, like, that's a real truth and the honest truth, because what you soon begin to realize, if you're in the CEO seat, but for the outsiders, they may not see it the same, is that there's a difference between growth and scaling. Whew. I can grow my business on the external side with clients. I can grow as those clients come in, my team to service those people.
Yes.
But scaling looks different. Scaling does not mean I need a digital 319 office instead of working outside of my home.
Correct.
My home is quote unquote free to me. So why I need to go rent out an office? It sounds good. It seems good. But do I want to leave the house and go work from somewhere and then 5 days out?
Put on a bra.
Put on a bra.
Listen.
See, well, I think the conversation behind growth is one thing and scaling is another, and sometimes they'll just get mixed up. But when you're in the CEO seat, you know the difference for your brand.
Yeah,
you know the difference for your business.
It is a ton of people we have not touched. Texas is huge. Dallas is huge.
I mean, for real.
You know, to say that since 2017, I look at it like from 2017, we've only done 450 weddings.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Look at the numbers to see how many weddings were at the court.
Correct. And so it's just like, no, we got to keep tapping. It's people here that we ain't even reached. So why are you worried about trying to go to Houston when you ain't even dominating Dallas. And that's my thing. I want to dominate here. Like, I want to be the man of my city. Like, you know, I want to be king me. Like, I'm trying to be the man. I want to be the man. Like, I want to be the man. And so,
I love this.
because I pride myself on being a provider. Like, I am married to an excellent provider, a great husband, goes above and beyond. I swear to you, his life's journey, in his opinion, is making sure that me and our children are good. Mm-hmm. And I respect that wholeheartedly. But I also pride myself on being a provider just as much as he does. And I love the life that we have and the things that we get to do because of my income.
Yep.
I could stay home and do absolutely nothing, never make another dime, and we would have a roof over our head, we have food in our stomachs, we would be okay. And I could run around saying, my man pay all the bills, my man. Okay. But I love the fact that I could say, hey, for your birthday, I just took him to California, to the Lakers game. We had our seats were so good, we was able to just watch them play on the floor.
Looking at the floor like the boys
at the court. Right. Like, we ain't looking at no screen. Like, we finna go. Like, we stay in a nice hotel. Come on, let's do whatever, because I pride myself on being able to provide for my family so we can have these experiences that we want to have. Why settle for enough when it's more?
Exactly.
Like, there's never enough money for me. There's never a situation where I'm like, you know what?
Good.
I have too much money. Like, oh my God, I cannot. No. Which is why I enjoy working while running my business. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs are in such a rush to run their business full time. And if that's where life takes you, great. But let it be because that's where life took you, not where the internet told you had to go.
Exactly. Because you can make more money not doing it full time. Like, you never know.
Baby, I love this. I get paid once a month for my full-time job. So I love on the 15th when that check deposits. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I love when that check deposits on the 15th and I look over here at just Elope and I know we made 3 times that amount this month. But guess what? This piece already taxed. It's already accounted for.
Yep.
It can be dispersed. And now we get to do all this fun stuff with XYZ. The cleaning lady can keep coming. Thank you, Rosa. Exactly. And that is her name. I'm not trying to be funny by calling her Rosa. Like,
shout out to Denise and Rosa.
Listen, shout out. Come on, baby. Because I love seeing you twice a month. I love that for me because at a point in our life, we could not afford the luxuries that we have now. Mm-hmm. And I don't take that for granted by being able to just say, oh, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. The moment that becomes we got to scale back. I don't want to scale back on shit. Exactly. I want to make some more money.
Exactly.
I don't want to cut back on anything.
Yep.
I just need to make more money.
And I mean, life is too short, you know, and you think about it from your, like, all I have is like, not all I have, but like Braylon, she's almost 2 years old. She'll be 2 in September. Mm-hmm. I got 1 kid is where I'm going with this. You got 3 boys. 3 rowdy, involved.
Oh God.
Out your house in the blink of an eye. Like,
it's,
you know,
it's
and life
scary.
is too short to be like, maybe when they, you know, from elementary to high school, throughout the whole middle school, we need to cut back. You know, like, it's just not, you just want to do as much as you can in the small amount of time that we have.
I was 34 before I got a passport. My children have what, 3 passport stamps? That's including the baby.
Correct.
Like, I want you to continue to have a life that, and not the things that I didn't have, but the experiences. The experiences, and, you know, pride myself on being, my mom and I are literally the best friends right now. Like that is my dog. Like we going to the Megan Thee Stallion concert. Like that is my girl. Sweet. We got a sweet. Like we are like, I'm so excited about that. But when I was younger, the conversations that we have now, I wish that we would have had, because it would have made me not internalize so much stuff or not know. So I asked my kids intentional questions, you know, like, so not just how was school today. So tell me, you know, who are your friends, and listening to those names, and then be like, what happened you and with such and such? And so, you know, what's going on here? Or when they tell me something, it's always like, well, how did that make you feel? Like when they said that, like, what feeling did you have? And just reaffirming them outside of the normal, like, oh, you're smart, you're so handsome. And like, it's so many things like with my kids that I see is weird about other people. Like when people say stuff like, oh, he's so handsome, girl, he gonna have all the girls when he get older. To me,
it's like, really? That's
why are you, and I get offended, because I'm like, why are you sexualizing my child? Like, would you tell a little girl, like, oh, you gonna have all the boys? Like, why would you say that? Like, don't. And my 11-year-old will, because my uncle, my stepdad asked him, like, oh, you know, you got any girlfriends at school? Both of my older children are in the gifted and talented program. They are very, very intelligent children, and we encourage them to be vocal and to speak up and all those things. So Maddox says, I'm 11. I'm not thinking about having a girlfriend. He's like, that is so weird. And my stepdad was like, oh. And I said,
oh, okay. Sorry.
And it is, because why are you asking an 11-year-old, does he have a girlfriend? I know he meant nothing by it, because that's just a thing that people do. But it's like, no. And he was just like, and Maddox was like, like, I'm 11 years old. How dare you ask? Like, I'm not thinking about no girlfriend. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know too, like, I think the more, not just growing in business, but the more like we get older, you know, just in this day and age, especially now having kids of our own, you just really start to picture things different. And I mean, a lot of those conversations, those experiences, like we said, are backed by us busting our ass to make the money that we make.
Right.
But that comes with us being able to think about the conversations that's happening in the household and all of that differently, because we not, okay, Saturday morning, now I gotta wake up, try to do all the laundry and clean the whole house behind everybody. Like, no, we got Rosa and Denise coming, so now I can sleep in on Saturday. And take out to them games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the things that we're doing with the money that we make allow us more freedom to focus on the things that matter the most.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about, oh, I made this money, now let me grow this team, or let me pop out to New York and start Just Elope too. And you know, like, it's not that. It's, I just want to pour it back into this house.
Yes.
You know, pour it back into my parents, pour it back into, you know, everything around me that built me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think that's like talked about enough. Like, you hear a lot of numbers and money conversations when it comes to small businesses, and especially Black owned businesses. But what people don't realize, some of us out here just want to pour it right back in here.
Yeah, because everybody's definition of a soft life is different. Like my definition of a soft life is being able to get up in the morning, make my kids a hot breakfast, make them a hot lunch, live in a neighborhood that allows me to make them something hot for lunch, and then like drive around the corner and take it to the school. Like that's my definition of a soft life. Like, it's not just, ooh, I'm getting a Chanel bag, or I'm getting that and the third. Like, that doesn't do it for me. But being able to know, like, my child is now into animation, so I can find an animation camp to send him to. Okay, it's $1,000 for 5 days. What? But okay, great.
This can do that. Probably the happiest thing he ever did. Like, and he gonna always remember this summer. You know,
I can do that, and so that's my definition of a soft life, is being able to be a present mom and a good wife, and not be stressed out and burnt out to where I'm like, oh, don't touch me, child. I'm, constantly tired. This job didn't stress me out. Baby, because one thing about it, I would get another job.
Yep.
Because in the back of my mind, I know if I didn't go to work, truth is I am going to be fine if I didn't go to work. That pressure I put on myself. But no, like, life is too short. You're absolutely right.
We had I think she was on last season, one guest I had on, and her kind of advice was just like, when you walking in your calling, the money gonna always be there.
I swear to you, that's the truest thing.
It's the truest thing. I think, and so often, especially if you grew up like real churchy, and then, a lot of times we were taught like dissociate like money with God. Like money was bad. It was, greed and all these things. But it's like, she was like, when you walking in your calling, the money gonna always be there. So she was like, oh, then people said I had to come in the office. I won't be there. I'll be putting in that resume. You know what I'm saying? Like,
ChatGPT, write this resignation in a professional tone.
Correct. So I wholeheartedly believe that life is too short. You gotta, do what you are, called to do. So taking a break in the conversation of the interview, and I'm gonna ask you 3 kind of this or that or off the wall questions. Okay. So the first one is, would you rather change the past or see the future?
I would definitely probably. It's hard because I want to say I want to see the past. I want to change the past so I can make better choices in the future. But on the other hand, I want to say that I would rather see the future so I can know what to do in the present. So I'm going to say see the future.
Ooh, I always switch up depend on like when I'm asking this one, because I'm always like, the way I'm such a planner, if I could see what was going to happen.
Man. Yeah. But then I feel like if you could see what was going to happen, you're going to do something to change that.
Correct, right?
And that's what makes it hard.
I know. So I think I'm gonna stick. Oh, I don't know. I think when I think about change the past, I just think about more so like, from a Black woman perspective, or women, marginalized groups in general. Like things about history, I wish, we could have changed. But then again, history was there for a reason for us to be where we are now. Right. So I don't know. It's hard, but I'm going to go and change the past.
Yeah. Okay.
What's something about the wedding planning industry that you feel is tradition, or wedding planning in general, but we should unnormalize it? Like, it should not be a thing.
So I have 2. The first one is, everybody does not deserve a +1 to your wedding. I think that is something that really adds to the cost, because people think, well, I don't want to go to a wedding alone, or, everybody should be entitled to getting a +1. And I don't believe that. I believe that the people that you invite to your wedding, if you would not pay for them to have a meal outside of your wedding, why would you pay for them to have a meal the day of your wedding? And so that is when I'm talking to my couples, like, that is the reality that I set for them, is that if on a random Saturday you would not take this person out to dinner, or they would not take you out to dinner, why are you paying for them to come celebrate you today? The second one definitely is the bridesmaids paying for their bridal party gear. And I've been in weddings and I've paid for my bridal party dress. So I've experienced it, and I definitely feel like, to me, it's wrong. Like, I can see me having to pay for my makeup because, fine,
it's my hair.
Right. But you want me to be in your wedding and wear the uniform that you want me to put on, and
for that 2 hours, ain't gonna wear it again.
You can, and people are like, well, I'm already paying for the whole wedding, and now I gotta pay for your dress. Baby, it's your wedding. You do this shit because it's your shit. Like,
you signed me up for this.
You're not
supposed to me.
You're not paying for this because you don't like, it's your wedding.
It's yours.
I believe that it should be a line item the same way anything else is a line item. Which brings me to my point 2A. is, I think that putting people in your wedding to just so that you have a big bridal party is overrated and it needs to stop. Because if you think about it, if you only had 2 to 3 people in your wedding, you would probably have no problem paying for their dresses. But people have 10, 11 people. And the people that stand up with you at the altar should be the folks that you know, if things get bad in your marriage, you need somebody to talk to. You need this, that, and the third. Like, you can call on them. And they're going to be there. They're going to support you because they know both of you. And it's not a one-sided thing. So like when I talk to my mom about things, it's never a one-sided because she knows my husband just like she know me. That might as well be her child. And so talking to her or talking to my sister, those are my people and my cousin. So talking to the 3 of them, mentioning anything pertaining to my husband, they're never going to take it like, really, Jennifer? It's always like, that don't even sound right. Now, what did he say exactly? And so versus you talking to just a random friend and they like, girl, if that was me, I would be not knowing you gassing the situation up.
Exactly.
You know, and so because they don't know y'all.
Yep.
And I think if you only had people in your wedding that knew you, the both of you, then you would be more apt and more comfortable with paying for them to be in your wedding. So.
Exactly. I'm going to say, I wish those 2 pieces right there of advice, I wish I had those when planning wedding. Like, it makes so much sense. Everybody don't deserve the +1.
No.
And yes, it should be a line item for you to pay for your bridal party stuff. Like,
yes,
it just makes so much sense.
It is. But we
don't ever hear that.
No, because everybody want this Instagram worthy bachelorette party. We getting flued out. We doing this, that, and the third. You know, and the sad part,
dances planned in advance. I just want you to make like 22 reels just saying that shit like 82 times.
I got you.
Like because it's just it's such a fact. Like especially the +1 part because. You know, like when you even think about how does your family that have known you forever, say your cousins, auntie, stuff like that, and then like your work friend.
Yeah.
How do they both get a +1?
I ain't never met your husband. I don't know Chad.
They both get a +1. It don't even add up.
I don't know Chad. Chad can't come.
Wow. I love that. Last one, worst marriage or relationship advice you've ever heard.
Oh God. Don't ever go to bed mad. Well, first of all, baby, I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm finna go to sleep because if we continue to have this conversation, nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna go nowhere. And typically when people run out of intelligent things to say, they get mean. Exactly. And so instead of us going around and around and around, we finna go to bed. And if you wake up tomorrow and you got that same energy, okay, then come on, let's finish the conversation. But I'm not going to go back and forth with you for an extended period of time. Number one, I got too many things I gotta do. We got too many kids, so neither one of us is like, look, all right, let's go ahead and figure out whether we about to make this a situation where it's like we're agreeing to disagree, or we're gonna table it for now, come back to it, or what are we doing? Because I gotta cook, you gotta go drop this boy off at practice, he gotta get a bath, he gotta do this, and we can't stay in this closet whispering hard at each other. Yeah, because you know we ain't finna do this for the kids, so we ain't finna be up in here doing all this in the closet next. And now I done got distracted because I'm like, damn, we need some hangers. And now
and then you still gotta keep talking through passing the napkin.
Yeah, right. So it's just like, look, what is we doing? Because you really ain't that mad, and I'm not that mad. I'm annoyed more than anything because more so than anything within our marriage, the biggest piece is that no matter what the situation is, like, you don't have to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because our issues are not another woman, another man, money, that sort of thing. It's just petty shit.
A miscommunication on something. And it's us against the world. Right. That's our thing. We always like us against, like, whatever we arguing about, this is just us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like if it's something impacting us or, you know, attacking us at the moment, that's the world. And I'm not attacking you. You're not attacking me.
Yeah.
It's us and whatever the world is throwing at us right now. So how are we talking to the world?
Correct.
You know? Man.
Because I'm going to
that
bed.
picture of you whisper arguing in that closet.
Maybe.
Fingers.
Hardcore. Because what I don't understand is you just keep leaving your stuff sitting on the floor and I'm tired of you. Damn.
Yep. It'd be the simplest thing.
Got no hangers. But anyway, like I was saying, you ain't that mad if you distracted.
You ain't mad for real. You ain't even mad for real. You don't forgot. Honestly, you don't forgot what y'all even talk about.
It's like, man, I'm over it.
Actually.
Yeah.
So, switching gears back into the conversation. In the short time I've known you, like I've seen you make super large strides to prioritize yourself, like to prioritize Jennifer, like your weight loss journey, pitching to raise funding and awareness of just Elope. I've obviously loved the meal content, the mommy meals for the boys before school, but like what people don't see behind the reels and the posts and all of that is it's a juggling act.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy. And I know we hear that a lot. It's not easy. It's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, but what are the ways that you know, how do you juggle? Like what are those consistent ways or methods that you juggle the act of like mommy-o and wife and all the other things?
So everything in my life is two categories. It's either, and I've talked about this before on other places, but it's either rubber or glass. Like there's nothing else. So every day we have a conversation of what's our priorities for the day, and glass items are things that cannot be dropped no matter what, because they'll never be the same if you put them back together. Mm-hmm. Rubber is things that, okay, it's not that big of a deal. So for example, today, the glass piece of my day was this podcast. I made a commitment. I'm going to be here. Somebody else is involved in this situation. Yeah. So the accountability is there of I have to do this. My husband's glass was at 3:00. I have a call for work. I have to do it. You're going to have to keep Lennox up out of here, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Okay, cool. We knew what our glass things were for the day. So that meant that anything else that kind of happened throughout the day, those were the two main pieces. So I know that a conversation that my husband and I have been having is us eating at home more. So meals in our house have been a glass thing during the week, because that's something that we've decided to make a priority. So I got up this morning. So like yesterday, got up, put the roast on, did all those things. So we knew that was going to be done. This morning, got up, took the chicken out.
There,
baby. When I get off this call, I'm gonna go in there. I'm finna go cook, because the other glass piece is my older son has basketball practice. They have to leave the house at 5:30, which means that anything I got going on is either you gonna push through with Lennox or you're going to be finished. So we just kind of have these conversations, and it's not a situation of like what you're doing is more important than what I'm doing. It's just simply, these are the things that we have to do. So we both going to have to adjust to make sure our glass items can happen. Everything else, we just going to kind of go with the flow on it, and whatever it is. So dinner's important. We want to, eating healthier, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Let's take the food out. Let's make the effort right now. He's seasoning the chicken up, getting it together. So when I get done, I just got to go in there and do my part. So it's like nothing is anybody's job. And I think that is where when people ask me, like, how are you able to do all of these things? It has nothing to do with me being Superwoman, except for the fact that I'm married to a man who prides himself on being a helpmate.
Yep.
In the discussion, like, these are our kids. These are our bills. This is our house. It's not a Jennifer thing or a Tavares thing. And I think that when couples stop competing with each other, well, I'm the one that did this and I'm the one that did that. It just needs to be done. So, for example, I'm looking out the window. Tomorrow is trash day. The trash is not taken out. I know I'm on this podcast. I know that Tavares was in the garage working out with our oldest son. He's managing Lennox. He's going to get in the car at 5:30, leave, and go take Jackson to practice. Well, if I get up and the trash can isn't pulled out, I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to put the trash can on the curb.
Break the recycle down.
It is not a big deal. Mm-hmm. And if this had been later in the day and I had been doing stuff with work, even though I said I was going to cook today, well, you know, we got to eat. He would have went ahead and started cooking. Yep. And so, of course, we all human. So when you feel like being petty, it's like, look, I hadn't planned on doing this today. Yep. We all human.
Especially when it comes to them kids, you maybe
look, right. You know, so I get it. You know, I'm not trying to act like we the freaking Jetsons over here or something, but it's like figuring it out together is a lot easier than being mad because you want to wear this Superwoman cape and I got to do everything around here and I do this and I do that. Baby, look, help me.
Yes.
I have no problem saying, oh, look, I need you to do this. Even if it was my responsibility, me saying, oh, I know I was supposed to go pick them up today. I need you to go pick them up. I still got this call. But instead of, oh my God, I'm so stressed. I still got to go get the kids and being in this frenzy because you feel like, oh, I don't want the other person to think that they doing more than me. Baby, do more.
Because some days I'll do more and you'll do less.
Correct.
And I think if more couples had that rubber glass, that daily conversation, like you'd see marriages lasting longer. You'd see divorce rates go down. Like for us, like my household, Antonio's a firefighter, so he's not here every day.
Right.
You can't have daily rubber glass.
Right.
But what we have started doing was we got a big ass whiteboard that we bring into our room, and every Saturday or Sunday night, whatever night he's home before the start of a week, we go through our whole week. Yeah. Okay, Bray got the gym class this day. The nanny's going to be here this day. The cleaning lady coming. Oh, I got to fly out this day. Da-da-da-da-da. I think I'm going to work overtime. Oh, the boys at the station want to go watch a movie.
Right.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that has been a game changer. People think, oh, y'all been together for so long. Oh, y'all known each other so long. That don't add up
to nothing.
Shit, to nothing. Years and that don't add up to anything when you do not have some type of communication process.
Yep.
And people always want to think like, oh, well, marriage is, oh, we together, love, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a business. It's a job. It takes everything all the effort you put into writing a resume, getting a job, landing a job, keeping a job, being on a team. You got to do that same thing in marriage.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that has been like a game changer for us, that whiteboard.
Yeah.
Just like starting our day that way, because most people also don't, take into account, like, I run the whole business, have a team of 9, the baby's here, I work from home, we have a nanny. But also me and Antonio, most of our communication is through text message.
100%.
Throughout the week. Because he on the ambulance or engine or whatever. And we ain't calling throughout the day or seeing each other every day or every night or every morning.
Yeah.
So the amount of added work you have to put in just based on y'all schedules, based on how many kids you got, based on how much your family is here or not here. We don't got no family in Texas.
Look, don't start talking about sex. Baby, listen. I gotta
like
have
all them show jokes are like penciling shit in. Like,
listen, you gotta have all the energy. You gotta, because my husband want me to always be so excited about it. Like, oh, I can't wait. I've been thinking about this shit so long. I ain't thought about nothing else but you. Like, oh, come on. It's like, oh man, I was just sitting around thinking to myself, oh, I can't wait to take off these drawers. Like, I wasn't, but however, because I know that's what makes, like, I make it a point to, like, that's a glass, sex is a glass thing to my husband.
It's a glass for him. Yeah.
It's a glass thing for him. Exactly. And I try my best to make sure that I am fulfilling that glass need because he's like, look, I don't got no other options, and I love that's both of our thought processes. Like, this it, I ain't got no other options because so many other people are like, oh, well, it's plenty of no, I'm gonna do my part. Okay,
exactly.
I'm finna stretch, get it warmed up. Show you something.
We gonna pop the tag on the blue jar.
Exactly. Listen, I'm finna show you something. As soon as I put Lennox to sleep, and I'm gonna come
after that baby go down.
Then I'm gonna circle back, but I might fall asleep a little bit in here. But tap me, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna be ready.
I'll get up. I'll be waiting on you.
I'm gonna get up. I might have fell asleep, but it was a power nap. Don't think
You
I was
ain't
trying to
never
play you.
lied.
Don't think I was trying to play you out. I wasn't, because I know I was talking it all day.
You ain't never
But it's
lied. Oh
just
my
this
God.
constant balancing act. And what I wish for people more than money, more than success, it's having a partner that you can depend on, that's not jealous of your growth, that wants to see you win, that thinks that you are capable of doing anything. My husband literally thinks I can do anything. And I'd be like, boy, why you think that?
Yep.
Like, what? And I'd be like, oh my God.
They believe in us more than we do ourselves
I
sometimes.
just be like,
that's our person.
I'm like, man, like, I don't know. Like, if I do this or that, like, how's it going to go? And he'll be like, Jennifer, like,
you got it.
Do you not realize, like, he's like, it's one thing. My husband is a data analyst. He's like, it's one thing to get a good paying job. And he's like, but it's something else to make money off the strength of who you are and what you created.
Yes.
He's like, and I don't think you understand that, because you're a creative person. So for you, the stuff just flows like, oh, it's nothing. Like, oh, what about this? He's like, people don't just sit around coming up with shit and actually being able to execute it and then
do it.
Convince
and
somebody to pay you for doing that thing. He's like, I don't think you understand that. And so he's like, yeah, I may have this great, paying job. He's like, but you literally make money off the strength of being Jennifer. He's like, you not realize like how dope that is? And I'm like,
But when you put it like that,
and that pep talk lasts me a couple days, and I'm right back to
entrepreneur. Damn that. Yep, absolutely. Oh my God. I'm so grateful for us, but also just thankful, that we do have these people. And I think, as we will say, social media will glamorize whatever sides of entrepreneurship or marriage, that it wants. But when you always can just hear real stories and you see the work, you see what's put in. It's just like you said, me and you, we both have, we've built our own things, and we have platforms on platforms, pages on pages on pages. But it's just because that's how our brain works. Right. That's how, what our calling is. But best believe I didn't put this Cooler Talk light up. I didn't get the fan in here. Listen. I didn't do none of this. I'm here as a face, but baby, hubby, sister, like all of those people have poured completely into this, and it's not without them that I, would be here. And
100%.
I'm thankful for that, because I want more of that for us, for Black women, for people in general to just be, have that experience. So last question of the day. If you could leave advice for a woman at the cooler, whether they're looking to be like in your space or your shoes or just plain old advice, what would you say?
That you are more than a mom. You're more than a wife. You're more than whatever that title is at your job. And you deserve to explore all facets of who you want to be. If you wake up tomorrow and decide you want to do something else, I pray that you have the courage and the support system to go for it no matter what. And even if you don't have the support system, I pray that you still do it, because if somebody else being successful to me is not like a dang, it's a, oh shit, I could do that too. Yeah. And you don't have to be first to market. Like if you have an idea and then you see, well, dang, somebody else is already doing it. That doesn't mean anything. You don't have to be the first to market. You just got to be the best at what you do, because not being first has its perks, right? So I feel like being first to market does allow you to establish yourself in that space, and then you are the catalyst. Like you are the standard, right? So people still call it a Uber, even if they're talking about a Lyft. People call it a jacuzzi, not knowing that that's a brand. It's a hot tub, right? And so we say Spanx no matter what. It's nothing but that's even
Clorox,
right. So you say these things, so it does have its perks, but just because you were not the first person to come up with something, you now could say, oh, I see what they did wrong and what I'm going to do different. So I just pray that you have the strength to realize that if God puts it on your heart, then he'll put the people in your path if you're willing to do the necessary work to get there. Nobody is going to come knocking on your door wanting to get a service from you. Just because you have a website does not mean that people are checking for you. Just because you take a picture with your arms folded don't mean and your back against the wall.
Don't mean you standing on business.
Don't mean you standing on business. And does not mean that somebody's finna come looking for you just because you do those things. And you have to put in the work. And you also have to realize that everything that you want to do and that you attempt to try, you're not going to be good at. Every idea that you have is not yours to execute. And that is where if you start to notice that you have more ideas than the capacity to carry them out, then maybe you should be a consultant for other people so that you can get that creative piece out and they can carry it out, because that may be their path. But your path is just, you can, because I've realized that about myself with things. It's like, you could do this. And then, okay, if you did that, then what you need to do is boom, 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 boom. That doesn't mean it's for me to run that business. It just means that this wealth of knowledge and creativity that I have, like, I need somebody to feel this. Like, I need to be in a consulting role doing certain things. And it took me a while to get to that point because I felt like, man, I got all these ideas. I ain't never going to be able to execute them all and get them all out. And it's like, but it's not for me to be that. What's for me is to bring that out of other people, because it comes so naturally for me. To be for somebody to say, I always wanted to start a business painting rocks. Oh, girl, let me tell you how you can get these rocks on the Oprah show. You know what I'm saying? Like, Oprah ain't got a show no more, but she gonna start it back up just for your rocks.
You got the rocks.
And so it's like, that's what I love. And I'm okay with the fact that it took me a while to figure out, man, why am I like this? Why am I always going? But I realized, you know what? No matter what my personal business is that I run in with Elope, that piece of me needs to be fulfilled, because that creativity is not going anywhere. But it's now, okay, let's help other people see their full potential. And that's okay. Because you might have paid me $2,000 to help you figure out your $1 million idea.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
On to the next one.
And I was out there in the world. I needed that. That advice is for me.
Well, come on.
Like, cause and it's given, we need to just link for like coffee brain dump sessions. Like, because I have this brain bank over here where I'll just like, those ideas like, if I wrote a book about this, and you ain't about to sit down and write that book, no time soon. But I'm putting that idea down because like ideas are currency, and you just feel like when you have something, you can't get rid of it. It's like, this was a thing.
Yes.
And, girl, yes, that advice is for me. Like, understanding that just because you have the ideas, it doesn't mean that you're the one called to execute it, but it also doesn't mean you throw the idea away. Like, figure out like how to put it into the world. I needed that.
You're welcome, girl.
So thank you. So ending off, any exciting projects or products or events or services coming up with Just Elope, or anything you got going on that you want to share, and then definitely drop your handles so that people know where to follow you and find you.
Yes. So I have a relationship workbook called #RelationshipGoals, and I am working on a new workbook, which is 500 questions you should ask while dating. I firmly believe that so often people wait until they get engaged to want to have these in-depth conversations about life and marriage and You need to be having that conversation way before then. And I feel like when people are dating, they ask a lot of surface level questions because, you kind of want to keep it cute. And it's not that people are hot. And then when stuff comes out, you're like, well, why did you never tell me that? Well, everybody doesn't remember every single moment of their life in real time, unless something sparks it. It's stuff that me and my husband talk about now that I'm like, yeah, when I was little, such and such, he like, I never knew. I
never knew that.
I never knew that. And I'm like, yeah, that's so random that I even thought about that. So creating this space of yes, I have a very niche business with Just Elope, and I want to create a product and continue to have services and conversations that apply to anybody, because love is my thing. Love and healthy relationships, that is my thing. I love that piece of it. And that's something that I want to continue to pursue. Talking about all things weddings and love and life and marriage, that's my thing. So this book is definitely going to be for everyone. I'm putting the finishing touches on it. So I'll be sure to get it over to you hopefully before my episode airs. If not, It's coming in 2024.
I love that though. And drop your socials.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at I am Jennifer Allen. And for my Just Elope page is Just Elope LLC, and same on TikTok.
Love it. Well, Jen, thank you so much
for having me.
Sharing your story. Thank you so much for coming. I feel like I'm leaving with, I feel like this episode was just personally for me.
You're welcome, girl.
So I appreciate you. And I know them boys got to get to basketball.
Yes, that was my alarm saying, okay, we leaving.
Exactly. And y'all, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode.
Bye.